My guest is Makayla Russell, who's an assistant winemaker at Treveri Cellars in the Lower Valley. We all know it's a place that we love to go and drink some of the best sparkling wine in the world. So, Makayla, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, Makayla, let's talk a little bit about your journey into the winemaking world. But before we go there, let's start. You're born and raised, homegrown, right in the heart of Washington.
Yes, Yakima Valley. Yep,
right.
I grew up, I was born and raised here. I grew up in Glebe, Washington. I went to school at Nat Cheese, K through 12. Graduated there in 2014. And then I've lived here my whole life. And then I left when I turned 21 and came back.
So let's do a big shout out, first off, to the Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All
Go
right.
Big Blue.
Okay. That's sort of a tradition, especially with people that grow up in the valley.
Yeah.
I'm a Ram. Everybody knows I'm a Ram because I mention that every time. But the Rangers were really cool people.
Yeah.
Big hearts. Some great athletes, I'll tell you that right now. When you said you left.
Yeah.
You left. Tell us a little bit about growing up here in the heart and you left. Where'd you go to?
I pursued a dream of mine.
Okay.
I became a flight attendant.
Oh.
Yeah, so when I was 21, I left and moved to Dallas, Texas for 5 years.
Okay, and who did you work for? Which airline?
American Airlines.
American.
Well, it's a subsidiary of American called Mesa Airlines.
Okay.
Yeah, but I wore an American Airlines uniform for them.
Right on. And so 5 years flying around in the planes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that journey. Like, it's the dream that you had, you pursued it.
Yep. It was a goal of mine, and I reached it, and I moved to Dallas and did that for 5 years, and I learned a lot of things. I went to almost all 50 states, which was a huge bucket list item.
Okay.
Been to a couple different countries, got to meet a lot of cool people, make a lot of great connections.
Okay.
I moved away, not that Yakima didn't have, opportunities for me, but I kind of wanted to see what else was out there.
Okay.
But it drew me back. I missed home, and I came back to Yakima Valley after 5 years.
It does that.
It does that.
It does that to you.
It's gorgeous here.
Yeah. Right on. Right on. So what was your position? Flight attendant, right? Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So I could probably I've flown so much, I can almost repeat the speech of
I probably could too still.
seatbelt. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it was a good time in life, a good time for growth and learning and experiencing life.
Yeah, I was at, at the age, I was 21 to about 25, which I feel like is crucial years in your life.
You bet.
You're young, but you're also like maturing at the same time around that age. And I learned a lot of things, and I feel like I grew a lot, especially being away from home, and like I didn't have any family, they were only a phone call away. I didn't have anyone. And I met so many people and so many people that made it a home for 5 years, which was amazing.
The pickets call it adulting.
Adulting.
Okay?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
The mother and father of the picket tribe say our kids are adulting now. They're learning about life. Yeah, right on.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
So you came back to Yakima, back to the heart of Washington. And what was the next step in the journey?
So actually, while I was still in Texas, COVID happened. Yeah, great. I know. We love bringing that up.
I almost forgot about it.
Yeah, right. And I was like, gosh, I really want to go back to school.
Okay.
And I knew I was going to find myself coming back to Yakima, and what better to do than agriculture?
Yeah.
Yakima Valley has so much to offer in the ag department. And so I went back to school, got a couple prereqs, and I started the wine program while I was actually still in Texas, because COVID allowed, everything was online.
Right.
So I went through YVCC.
Silver lining right there in the midst of chaos.
Yeah.
There's an online program. Okay.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure if I was going to do wine or, crops like apples or pears or whatever.
Okay.
but I love wine.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, this sounds actually really interesting. And I was kind of over the flight attendant thing and was looking for a different direction. And so, yeah, I started the wine program while I was still in Dallas and then moved home. Everything started to become in person again. And so then I finished out the program in Grandview at the teaching winery.
Okay, I was going to say, tell us a little bit. I've heard about this the program. Tell us a little bit about what, number one, the folks who end up in that program at I say YVC, but it's not. It's Yakima Valley, not CC. It's
YVCC, Yakima
right.
Valley Community College.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
I went there for a year.
Oh, okay.
I didn't finish there, but I started, so I have a fondness for the college.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the program, the folks who end up in that program, and then what's your track? How does that navigate? And think about in terms of young people who may be interested in sort of following this career trajectory.
Okay, so the program, it's a 2-year program. They offer 3 different degrees specifically for the wine industry. So you have the vineyard technology and you have the winery technology degree.
Okay.
But then they also, the year I went, started offering a dual degree. So you can do the winery and vineyard combined, which is what I chose. It helps people who want to be in the wine industry, but they're unsure of like what route they want to take with it. Like, do you want to grow grapes or do you want to make the wine?
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. And then the dual degree, there's a lot of places, especially in the Yakima Valley, who they're smaller wineries, and they're making their own wine, and they also have their own vineyards on their property. Okay. So that's like one of the biggest things, which I think why YVC came up with that program is because it's, if you own a winery, you want to have a vineyard too. Yeah. And some people don't, but a lot of people do want to have, the best of both worlds there.
Right on. So if I'm a young person and I'm thinking maybe career path toward winemaking or wine or growing grapes, you could jump in or at least investigate this program at the Yakima Valley Community College. Yep. And they can actually give you the tools and the skills to have that knowledge base to jump in that industry.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great advisors and teachers there who can also help you come to that decision too.
Right on.
Come to help you decide which route you want to go or if you want to do both.
Yeah, there's a diamond in our own backyard right there.
Yeah.
The winemaking program at the college here, fantastic. So you opted for dual degree. So you want to know about the growing and the making.
Yeah,
right?
I do. Okay. Yeah. I've been told from a couple winemakers in the valley that the best winemakers also know how to grow the fruit.
All right.
So, because that's where it starts.
There's a little nugget right there. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, how long is the program?
2 years.
Okay, and you finished it?
I did. I graduated last April.
Okay.
Yeah.
And while you're in the program, are you working out in the field at all, or is it all classroom and then field, or?
There's a lot of classroom, but there's also a lot of classes that are hands-on. So the teaching winery in Grandview actually has its own little vineyard.
Okay.
It's like I think it's a quarter of an acre or like half of an acre, but it's about 4 rows with 2 different types of varieties.
Okay.
That the students get to go out and hands-on like prune, during certain times of the year, pick the grapes. Like we had to actually go out there with clippers and hand clip all the grapes.
You're selling me. I'm about ready to sign up.
Yeah, so, it's pretty great. And that's actually part of what sold me on the program was the hands-on stuff because a lot of people learn that way. Yep. They're better learners. Some are learners in books, but some are learners by doing it physically with their hands, and that's me specifically.
Right on.
You let me do it once, and you probably don't have to show me again.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, and then so there's the vineyard at the winery or at the school down there in Grandview, and then there's also the winery.
Okay.
Full equipment, everything you need to make wine, barrels, and then also local wineries donate grapes for the students to create their own wine during harvest time.
Fantastic.
So I have probably about 15 cases of wine that I made while I was in school that I was able to take home with me, and it was wine that I made.
So what's your label?
Well, so the label is for the school. So the school actually has a tasting room at this Grandview campus, but also in Yakima here, there is a YVC tasting room off 16th, right by the Taco Bell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I did not know that.
You can become a club member.
All right.
Which is pretty great because you're
great.
supporting the school and the students.
Okay.
And yeah, you get to buy the students' wine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I went to the tasting room and I said, I want some of Makayla's finest, can they find those cases?
Absolutely.
Okay.
My reds were just released this last summer.
Okay.
And they asked me, I work in a winery now, and they asked Trent Ball, he's the head of the vineyard and winery technology program at YVC, and he emailed me, reached out. We're still in contact quite often. And he said, will you come back and pour your wines at our club release?
Right on.
Because they're being released for our club members. And I said, yes, absolutely.
Makayla Red.
Yes, that's exactly what one of my family members walked in and asked for.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I get Makayla's Red?
Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know, because I didn't know this, and I could be, I'm a slow learner, so I could be behind the 8 ball on everybody else, but there is a tasting room by the college on the right there at 16th and Nob Hill.
16th and Nob Hill. Yeah.
And you can actually join a club. It supports the college. It supports the program.
Yeah,
That's fantastic. And you
students.
can drink some good wine made by some up and coming artists in the wine industry. Fantastic. That is great to know.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay.
Yep.
This is a big concern, right, about people, and I see this with people who go to law school. They talk about cost. What's the kind of cost of attending a program like that?
So, oh gosh, let me see. Okay, so I'm an adult, so I have my own bills.
Yep.
So I couldn't I'm not an 18-year-old or 17-year-old living, at my parents' home anymore, so I still had to be able to support myself. Okay. So while going to school full-time, which was very demanding.
Yeah.
I worked full time as well. I actually worked 2 jobs at once.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah. And I worked at a winery. I worked at Van Arnhem Vineyards.
Okay. Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out to them. They're great. I worked there when I first moved back.
Okay.
So I was there for about 1.5 years, 2 years. And then I was working 2 jobs because it was part-time.
Okay.
And so it was just a lot. So I ended up working at a physical therapy office. So it was kind of off what I wanted to be doing, but it was a consistent 8 to 5 job. And instead of having to work 2 jobs, I was able to get, the means by just one.
Okay.
So I applied for scholarships and grants. Okay. And I got a full ride.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was great.
I'm going to hope for a full ride for everybody. I know that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of great scholarship opportunities within the wine industry. Okay. The Grape to Glass Gala raises money for grants or scholarships for kids. I was one of the recipients of that. And then I actually got to come back a couple months ago and work the gala. Now through my work, I got to pour my own wine there, which was really cool. And it was nice to be able to give back to something that I was able to receive as a student and see the up and coming students, who need that help that I was able to get from them.
That's fantastic.
The gala.
So if you're thinking about it, look into every scholarship you can get. Get as much assistance as you can get, and there's an avenue out there to pursue this if you're diligent enough and working hard enough.
Yeah, the school has a great website that has a list of every scholarship and grant you can apply for. Okay. And you just click on them.
All right.
And submit it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So you finish school, and then now you want to apply this profession, this trade that you've developed, all the knowledge. Where do you go? Yeah.
So I actually, before I finished school, landed a job at Treveri. As a tasting room associate.
Okay. Shout out
to Treveri.
To the Bubble Club.
All
right.
And I, made a lot of connections, and making connections that's been the biggest thing that has helped with this career. There's a lot of great people in this industry, especially within the Yakima Valley, and we're all just one big community, and they love, seeing more and more people coming into the industry and coming into wanting to grow grapes and wanting to make wine. And the community is just great, and everybody's so helpful and wants you to succeed. And so I had to put myself out there a lot and meet a lot of great people. And I had an internship. I worked at Van Arnhem. I did my internship through Fortuity, met some great winemakers, went to some industry parties, like harvest parties, and met a lot of great people who helped me get to this point.
Talk a little bit about how important, and you've already said just a little bit about this, how important it is. And I got to use the word, everybody hates the word, it's networking. But you talked about like putting yourself out there. Yeah. And I really want to be encouraging to young people who are reserved. Maybe they're a little shy. And it's difficult to do that. But talk a little bit about how important it is to put yourself out there. Yeah, it's very important. And even though it can be uncomfortable and it can be like really nerve-wracking, especially like you're going into an industry where like you're meeting these people who like know what's going on and they have all this experience, and like that can be so intimidating, because I felt that. I was that little person who I was like, oh my gosh, like all these people know what they're doing and I have no idea what I'm doing. But it was so important for me to put myself into those uncomfortable positions, because it was the most rewarding after the fact, even though I was shy and nervous and all that. It was just very important to build those relationships, to build those connections, and to meet those people, because ultimately when you're in the industry and you're like, oh crap, I don't know what to do right now, you can call somebody up that you've met, and like maybe they've experienced the same problem, and that's you receive that help and that advice from people, and that's how you maintain and keep those connections. And great example.
They help you along your journey.
Right. That's a great example. Pick up the phone and you can call somebody that you've met somewhere along the line and ask a question to, when you may not, and you don't know the answer. And that's the thing, that you don't know the answer. And it's always not that, there's the whole philosophy of people do this fake it till you make it thing, and I'm like, I'm not sure that's a great philosophy, because it's sometimes better to just say, I don't know what I don't know, but you do know what I'd like to know, and can we get to know each other and have a bit of a relationship, a friendship, a mentorship, whatever you want to call it, that is helpful to young people as they move along their journey in life. So
I would say a big thing too is not to be like embarrassed or ashamed that you don't know, because I can guarantee you, somebody who's been doing this for 20 years, there's still a lot of things that they don't know. Yeah. So it's okay to not know and to ask for help.
Absolutely great advice. Yes. Okay. News tip, right? Not a tip. You probably already know this. The Yakima Valley was recently voted #1 best wine region in the United States of America. I'll say that again. #1 best wine region in the United States. Wow. My question is, what's the significance of that achievement to you, and what makes our wine so great?
The significance is being voted the best region in the U.S. Puts us like, for business wise, I mean, it draws in people, and it's a lot of people compare, or will say like Napa Valley, like that's where you need to go wine tasting, go to California. But like a lot of people put Washington kind of on the back burner when we're the best growing region. I mean, our diverse climate is like what makes our grape growing so great. And actually not just grape growing, all the other crops that we can grow here as well. And so being voted the best draws a lot of people to come to Washington, and maybe not so much. Not that California does not have a lot to offer and isn't a great place as well, but it just gives us more, what would you say, like not significance, but like it helps us out in that reason, because I feel like I said, a lot of people just push Washington aside sometimes and don't really, they think of California when it comes to wine. So being recognized, Washington State being recognized as the #1 region is wonderful. I mean, we're finally getting put into the spotlight that we deserve.
Right on. Yeah. It's what an honor, #1, to be and to actually be recognized. Right. I'll say it again. #1 in the U.S. I know. I was like, wow. I know. No, it's real. It's real. Yeah. For anybody that doesn't know that, that is fantastic news. Fantastic news for our economy. Right. And also just the recognition that people have worked a lifetime in this industry, right? Both the growers and the makers of wine.
Yeah.
And to finally be recognized at that level is amazing. So, it's a great time to be a winemaker.
It is, yeah.
Okay. So, Makayla, you're an assistant winemaker at Treveri.
I am.
All right. And which we all know that is the place for amazing sparkling wine.
It is,
All
yes.
right. The question that I have is, what's different about the process of making sparkling wine versus the traditional wines?
It's a lot more in depth.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
There's a lot going on with sparkling. And when I was in school, I didn't learn a whole lot about sparkling. I learned mostly about still wine, which is primarily what we do in Washington State is still.
Okay.
So sparkling, you have so many more steps added to it. So we're making the still wine that everybody else is making, but then we're adding on that extra process to make it into sparkling.
Okay.
So, I mean, are you familiar with the traditional method of how to make sparkling?
I'm not. You're going to.
Okay, so
I'm going to take a wild guess.
All right, so we make still, I'll just kind of give you like a little blip of like what it's like. We make the still wine and then we go to bottle the still wine. And while we're doing that, we add sugar and yeast into the bottle. Okay, so this is called method champenois, and that's the natural method of making champagne. Champenois,
okay.
Yeah. And so we bottle it with sugar and yeast in the bottle. You know, we have our scientific amounts that we put in there.
Okay.
And we let it sit on tirage, and so we lay the bottle flat, and so all that yeast is in contact with the wine, and that yeast eats the sugar under pressure.
Okay.
Which is because we put a crown cap on it, which is like a beer bottle cap essentially.
Okay, right.
So now the bottle's encapsulated, it's closed, and the yeast is eating the sugar and creating CO2, which is a gas, which is what creates that. It's going through a fermentation, is what it's called, and that's what creates the bubbles.
And I've been out and
sparkling.
toured. I've toured Treveri and watched where you've got all these bottles and they're being turned.
Yes. Yep.
Right?
So that
used to be by hand.
Yeah, back in the old days it was by hand, and that's probably why people have carpal tunnel.
Right. I was going to say, what do you do? Well, I'm the guy that turns the bottles.
Turns the bottles. Yeah.
Yeah. My wrist is not so good anymore.
Thank God for the 21st century. We have machines that do all that for us.
Yeah.
They're riddling racks.
Okay.
Euro pallets is Euro pallets is what they're called, and they're these big cages where we can put the bottles into them, and it's a 5-day automated system where it turns it for you, and as it's turning it, it also raises it up.
Yep. So
then you want all that yeast to be in the neck of the bottle, so that way, because you don't want yeast in your wine, so you want to be able to extract that by a process called disgorgement.
Okay.
And so I don't know if I took you through our disgorging room when I toured. Yeah, so that's our disgorging line. And we disgorge on demand all of our product that gets released out into.
I remember you telling me about the sugar.
Yeah.
And the yeast. And I'm a big fan of sugar.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I wish I wasn't, but that I was sold as soon as you told me that you were using sugar to make the sparkling wine. Yeah. So, tell us one of the things about the Yakima Valley, having been born and raised here and spent a lot of your life in this valley. What's one of the things that you would like to either maybe see change or be done a little differently? And then also, what's something that you would hope would never change forever?
Something I think I would like to see maybe more of is like more tasting rooms actually in downtown Yakima.
Okay.
There's a couple, but I'm a big supporter of small businesses. You know, a lot of my family members have small businesses, and I really try to support them. And so I think opening up and supporting more tasting rooms in the downtown area, it would draw a lot more people to the downtown area, because nowadays, I mean, it's active down there for sure, but I feel like it used to have a lot more spunk to it, and I feel like a lot of people aren't as attracted to the downtown area of the Yakima Valley as much, and so I think it would be nice to, we have the farmers markets.
We do.
Which is like drawing a lot of attention down there, and it's making it more, inviting and enjoyable to go down there, and I think adding more things like tap rooms and tasting rooms. I think that would be amazing to see.
Great plan.
Yeah.
I fully support you.
Not that I don't mind driving all the way out to Zilla and, down in the lower valley, but it would be nice to have more just like closer to Yakima.
Okay.
One thing I never want to see change is the beautiful scenery, honestly. Like, okay. I love growth and I love seeing, more people move here, but I hope that our mountains always stay the same.
Yeah.
I live in the mountains,
right
actually.
On.
Yeah. And it's my favorite place to be, and that's one thing I hope that's why I moved back. Part of it is the trees and the mountains.
Yeah, so we all love it, and we're protective of it. Mm-hmm. And as much as we want people to come and enjoy and visit our valley, we also are like, there's other places to see too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to, there's a careful balance.
Right.
There.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We ask all guests this question. What's your favorite staple? Okay. And everybody immediately goes, staple? What do you mean? Food. It could be food, but it's your favorite Yakima staple. It's something that reminds you of home, of the heart of Washington. When you see it or smell it or taste it or experience it, it's home.
That's a really good question, and I have a great answer.
Okay.
I would say cherries or apples.
Right on.
Those are my favorite staples, and I say that because when I was spending 5 years in Texas, and I went to the grocery store to buy a bag of cherries during cherry season, they were outrageous pricing down there.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking in my head, oh my gosh, I could get these back in Yakima for like way cheaper. But the tag on the bag of cherries was Yakima Valley.
Oh.
Yeah. And the apples too. A lot of tags, a lot of stickers.
Yeah.
They would say Yakima Valley on them.
That's right.
And so that was like a little piece of home in Texas that was like, oh, this is nice.
This is from home.
I'm proud.
Yes.
I'm very proud of the Yakima Valley right there. Yeah.
That's
right.
my
hometown.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, so the produce, I know that sounds like really weird, but yeah, seeing Yakima Valley on the produce in Texas was pretty cool.
It makes you proud.
It makes me think of home.
Yeah, right on.
That's my favorite
the
staple.
farthest I've ever gone to see an apple with a Yakima sticker on it was Cambodia.
Cambodia.
And
oh my gosh.
I remember thinking, how on earth did this get here?
That's
and sure
crazy.
enough, a whole bunch of apples from the Yakima Valley.
That's amazing.
Yeah, long way. So
wow.
we grow, I always say we grow good food and good people.
We do.
And they populate the world.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Makayla, what's one of the favorite things about your job as an assistant winemaker at Treveri Cellars?
I would say working, he's going to love this, working under Jürgen.
Oh.
Jürgen Grieb. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's the owner / winemaker.
Okay.
I would say that has been one of the greatest things working there.
Shout out to Jürgen.
Yeah. Shout out to Jürgen.
Okay.
He has been a great person to learn from, and he has taught me everything I know about sparkling, for one. Okay. And, just lots of things about winemaking, and I'm very thankful and appreciative of the experience that I've had there so far.
Sounds like a good mentor.
Very good.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. When you go to Treveri to visit and sample some wines, we're going to, and we want to encourage people to take that very short drive out to the vineyard, and also take the tour.
Yeah. Yep.
Of the actual winery and the vineyard. I think we've done them both.
Yeah, we offer a couple tours a year. We try to be as consistent as we can and do at least once a month. Me and Brandon. Okay. He's the DTC at the winery. Okay. You can sign up online. Okay. Yeah, we would love that.
And to be a member, and I'm not a member yet, but I'm going to be. If you guys will accept me.
Yes,
it's the bubble.
absolutely.
It's the bubble club.
Yes, join the bubble club.
All right.
Yep. And we offer bubbles during the winter time too, which is super fun.
All right. Thanks to Makayla and Treveri Cellars for visiting with us here today on Homegrown in the Heart. Be sure to visit the next time you're in the Valley, and you can look them up on their website here below. If you'd like to learn more about Larson Griffey Pickett, feel free to look us up on our website, lgplawfirm.com. If you need a lawyer, we're always available and happy to help.